Hi everyone, and welcome to another video, a weekly video from the Wine Steward, and thank you for watching us again. This kind of replaces or amplifies the newsletter that we try to send out in writing, but some of you watch, some of you read, some of you do both. I'm grateful to all of you. This is a product of a thing that has gone on for a year and a half called a pandemic, from which we are gradually requiring you vaccinated folks are now allowed, very welcome to walk in here now as of today or yesterday. I can't remember anything. Without a mask. You can come in maskless if you're vaccinated. If you're not, please continue to wear a mask. And we hope our staff, who's been very respectable about they've remained masked this whole time. I hope they will get to breathe a little more freely soon too. We'll hear from the governor soon and see what happens there. My mood is a little affected. I have two departures to tell you about, just to start this off, because things should be noted when things that mean a lot to us are happening, and that's how this has been the whole time. But this is quite personal, that someone to whom I've been delivering wine throughout the pandemic, and only during the pandemic, but someone who has been wonderfully supportive. And it's been a very interesting relationship or non-relationship for the last year and a half. She passed today, or passed yesterday perhaps, and I just got the news on Facebook, of all things, a couple of minutes ago. And anyway, I'm very sorry to hear about losing a very good friend. Even though the friendship was remote, I would leave wine on a doorstep, it would be picked up after I left. I'd get a phone call or a voicemail, and anyway, it's strange that that won't be happening again this week. It was a nice routine and a really unique relationship, for which I'm grateful. I'll remember it. I won't name names. I'm not sure how out there the news is yet, but I am feeling it. I'm feeling it. There's another departure, somewhat happier, let's say. Not great for the wine steward, but fantastic for the person who is leaving to head south for his retirement. Ennis and Linda are going south. So Ennis Pipe has been fantastic for us during the pandemic, and even before that is one of the greatest retail forces I've ever had the pleasure of working with. And retail is an art. Retail means looking around and seeing who needs to be helped next. Is the phone ringing? Is somebody upstairs asking for help? Is somebody downstairs? And it's just like, you have to be nimble. You have to have your eyes and ears open the whole time. And to do that isn't necessarily everybody's forte. I mean, everybody has their gift, but retail is a tricky thing to pull off. And I can say that Ennis Pipe has been fantastic for us. And he asked that we mention him today. I was going to mention him anyway. He didn't have to say a damn thing, but we're going to miss you, Ennis. His last day here is this Saturday. If you'd like to come in and say goodbye, ask him what his favorite wine is lately. He'll probably tell you. His favorite wine continues to be, where is it? I got to toast him now. In fact, we're going to put this on the wine bar menu because I doubt that there is a sparkling wine that Ennis has promoted more than this. This is Jan's Rosé. It's from Tasmania, Australia. Ennis actually got to visit the place, and he's been religious about it ever since. And I just thought it was appropriate to make this wine number one on this weekend's wine bar menu, and to toast him in this video, or just drink his wine, I don't care, and to say that you'd better look like this in about 1 year, because I expect you to let something go. Maybe not your physical appearance. This guy remains in shape. I admire his adherence to a certain physical regimen, but I believe in 1 year, Ennis really ought to look like this. So I called this up. This is like Back to the Future, or Future Ennis, signed by the man himself, and we're going to auction this off. As soon as he's gone, I'm sure it'll be worth millions, so maybe next week we'll auction off this future photograph of Ennis letting his facial hair go, continuing to remain in shape in the senior soccer league of San Diego, greater San Diego community. So that's what I hope for you, man. Thank you. Coming to say goodbye to Ennis this Saturday. He works 10 to 7. What other news do we have for you after I've got the rather heartfelt feeling of departures over with in this video? I don't know where to go from here. Actually, I do, because there's some good stuff to tell you. First of all, wine club members, your wine club wines for June are ready to pick up. You used to seeing like an email from me on a Friday, but Fridays are kind of weirdly arranged in June, so it's a little late this time that we're letting you know, but come and get them. Whether you're in our white wine club or one of our 5 other clubs, I give you 2 bottles of red every month. They're here, they're ready. I think maybe I could run through a couple of them. I'm not gonna do the whole thing. Perhaps we'll do a video tomorrow that is for the wine club members only, that just gives you a little bit of a verbal paragraph about each wine club wine. But let me just tell you about a couple of the high points. I think what I'll do this time is put these 2 bottles in front of you and say that whereas last month, the Red Collector Wine Club, which gets really good, usually Napa juice every month, like nice dark Cabernets, often ageable. Last month we gave you 2 mountain wines grown on mountainsides, and therefore more strict in their structure and a little more ageable perhaps. They've got longevity, but they're not necessarily friendly right now. Well, they're great wines for later, or great wines for a steak tonight, and you'd better decant them first to get ready. How about some wine this month that is ready? Just to kind of flip-flop from the big structure thing of last month, we're bringing you Hill Family and Laird. This is Laird, Jillian's brand, and Hill Family Cabernet, and both of these wines I would characterize as totally ready to go. One is an 18, one is a 16. Despite the age difference, they're both generous, dark, yummy Cabernet or Cabernet style blends. The Laird is based on Cabernet. Jillian's blend is based on Cab, has some other things in it, including a little bit of Syrah to round it out. It's so ready to go. We carried it for one customer last year. One guy from, I think over in Tiburon, would order a case of this at a time. The 2015 was good, but I didn't think we wanted to club it yet. And then here came a sample of 16, and I said, boom, this gentleman can keep ordering his Jillian's blend, but I want to give it to the rest of you in the Red Collector Wine Club. Super friendly, dark, good, yummy, ready to drink juice. Easy going, don't worry about aging it, get to it. Same thing with Hill Family Cabernet Sauvignon. A brand we've been known about for a long time and used to participate more with is back. And once again, the friendly style versus the mountain style of last year, or last month that is, sorry. So that's happening in the Red Collector Club this month. And let's see what's hanging out here. This is kind of cool. So the Wine Adventure Wine Club gives you 2 reds from anywhere but here for $39.99, including sales tax. You're not only getting 10% off everything you buy here as a wine club member, but you're getting 2 bottles of wine from us that are red from anywhere but here. So this time we're taking you to Portugal. And we just don't do that often enough because Portugal isn't sending us or giving us enough data as frequently as I hope they would. Portugal's kind of like lagging behind Spain as far as their importing and showing of great wine. They're catching up. They're getting there. Their soccer team certainly has it going on, don't they? Anyway, this is Cabriz, and it is I want to say every Portuguese word as if it's Spanish, but I'm not sure I'm saying it right. Maybe it's Cabriz. I should learn a little Portuguese. But Cabriz is the producer. The region is Dao, D-A-O, and that's south of, it's inland and it's south of the Porto region. And it is going to be made entirely this time of Touriga Nacional. And Touriga Nacional is I think, the most distinguished, important, potent Cabernet-like grape of Portugal. If we package up Spain 101 for you and say that Tempranillo is the Cabernet of Spain, let's say that Touriga Nacional is the Cabernet of Portugal. Why do we start our Portugal 101 with that little tidbit? Well, this has structure, it's got fruit, it wants linguiça, you better have protein with it. It's a dark and structured wine. I say structure a lot, I know. I'll find some other words. But this Cabriz is It's endearing with really rich, kind of like petite Syrah fruit, but it's got the tannins along with it. So let's think of it as petite Syrah from Portugal. How about that? Maybe that's what I'm going to write in the notes that I have yet to write. I better start writing. You know, we just did 2 events in a row. Last night and the night before, we filled the room. What we call filling the room now means putting 24 or 25 people up here, not 45. It felt really good. And it was so nice to have you guys up here, whoever came, to the benchmark wines of the world event, where we showed a Brunello, a Bordeaux, a great California Pinot, and so on. We jumped all over the place having fantastic wines. But I'm a little tired because you kept me up here, you kept me late. So I didn't mind that at all, but here we are getting into wine club mode, wine bar mode. I got to flip to a new thing as of early this morning. Take down the furniture from last night, turn that mezzanine back into a wine bar lounge, and also at the same time, very inconveniently, tell you about wine club wines. Okay, so we told you about Portugal, Touriga Nacional, the Cabernet, or maybe the Petit Syrah of Portugal, if you will. And then what's happening over here is more familiarly named, gotta work on that, Côte du Rhône, slopes of the Rhône. So Côte du Rhône is the less expensive wine of, let's say, Gigondas or Châteauneuf-du-Pape or so on. This is a producer who makes fantastic Châteauneuf-du-Pape, who also makes Côte du Rhône. And in fact, the fruit for this comes from, it's one of those just across the street from the boundary line stories again. It's beautiful Côte du Rhône that is not your $12.99 Côte du Rhône. Well, it's not, because it's $19.99, but it's also damn good. It's far better than what you expect from, let's say, the good old Crémelich Côte du Rhône. This is more distinguished. It has hints of Châteauneuf-du-Pape. You can tell it was made by the same hands that make fantastic Châteauneuf-du-Pape. So this is your Chateau Cabrera Côte du Rhône, almost Châteauneuf-du-Pape. It's a little Portugal, it's a little France this time for you guys in the Wine Adventure Wine Club. Maybe I won't. Let's represent 2 more of those, and then I'll tell you about what we're doing on the wine bar this week. All right. Let's rejoice in the fact that a wine vendor, somebody from whom we buy wine, shows us wine. She comes upstairs, just like several others, puts wine in a glass. I get my notebook out, I scribble, and I have expectations, and I wonder, is this wine good? And then I hear the price, and then I say, is it good for the price? That's the judgment. That's the basic way that we choose everything that you see downstairs. Is it good, and is it good for the price? Well, this is good, and it's really good for the price, and I'm shocked that we were given the opportunity to get the price low enough to put it into your world-class wine club. The world-class wine club is a lot like the Wine Adventure Wine Club I was just talking about. It takes you all over the world for 2 red wines a month, except they're better. You're paying more, so they should be better, right? That's the assessment that we try to do on your behalf. Well, here is Barolo from the 2016 vintage. The 16 vintage was very, very good to European red wines. In fact, you could just kind of like generally say that whether it's Bordeaux or the Rhône or Rioja or Brunello de Montalcino or Barolo, that the wines are beautiful in 16. The people in Barolo who make this wine are especially happy with 16 because they are kind of back to what they are used to making, a classical, ageable Barolo, where in recent years as things have been warming up over there, they've had kind of a hard time achieving the tannic structure, there's that word again, that says, Barolo, yeah, you gotta lay it down, but you will be rewarded later. They've been too friendly lately with the warming temperatures. And so 16, we're back to structure. This is really good stuff. We did in fact show it at our Benchmark Wines of the World event last night. And we also, because of a concession from the vendor with price, get to put it into the world-class wine club. It is structured, there's that word again, tannic, let's just say tannic, because Barolo should be. Classical Barolo is. You decant this, please. If you're gonna have it soon, decant it for as long as it takes you to make your ossobuco. So like, that's 7 hours in the kitchen, get this in the decanter, and those 2 things will be marvelous together. So this is Guy Sophie Barolo from the Busia Cru. A cru is a sub-region a la Burgundy of Barolo. So there's different crus, different special growing places. So it's not just the village stuff, it's the cru stuff. So anyway, it's very good wine. And what's going along with it, to show you like the obvious, a very flip side style of wine. I'm looking for it. That's why I'm saying Where the hell did it go? There's wine all over this place. I got bottles and bottles and bottles, but I'm still not seeing the. Oh, here it's right in front of me. Sorry. There it is. So we talk a lot about this. This is Cabernet Franc from Argentina. So delicious, so easygoing, so ready to go. World class? I think so, because Argentina surprises us with how well they are rendering Cab Franc. It's a little lively right now. The fruit is so happy that I thought, let's put this on the wine bar by the glass. I over-ordered on purpose, knowing a lot of you would like it. So it's on the wine bar menu, and it's in the World Class Club to show you World Class Club members this month something classical, something ageable, durable, and something you can pop right now. So it's kind of cool that way, right? Anything else about the wine club? Man, there's a lot of good bottles out there. You can't see them, but I'm staring at them and I'm thinking, gosh, I could talk forever about good wine. Why don't we go over, however, to the other piece of news? Let's talk about what's going on the wine bar menu this weekend. Well, the wine bar menu is printed. We don't think anybody's going to want to sit outside today because we're anticipating temperatures of about 106 degrees. It's going to cool down a little bit over the weekend, but it's going to stay warm. We are so blessed to have two venues to show you wine in. One is outside, out front, and if it's too hot or too smoky or too windy out there, then we can have you upstairs. We can bring you up to the mezzanine. We have air conditioning. I sure hope the power doesn't go out and that the cooler downstairs doesn't blow out with the top degree, 106 degrees. Oh boy, I don't know what's going to happen, but let's just hope we can still provide you with a wonderful venue upstairs to taste at our wine bar starting tonight. So let's take you through the wines that we're going to show you. Well, I already showed you one, but I kind of feel like I should toast Ennis one more time. Cheers, Ennis. Thank you for everything. Good luck with your soccer playing and your beard growing and all that. You're a good guy, and a lot of people know that. This is going to start things off as the sparkling wine of the week, and Ennis, in honor of Ennis Pipe. He will tell you all kinds of things about this wine, and he'll make up most of them. The white wine, we want a crisp and bright and refreshing white wine this weekend, don't we? We don't want plodding and heavy and oaky. We want no oak, stainless steel, fermented and aged Albarino, don't we? I do. Where to go? Here it is. Oh, it's way over there. This just happened. A guy named Luis Moya reappeared. It is pretty amazing that if you stay in one place, meaning the wine steward in this wine shop for 21 years, you see people come and go, and then occasionally, once in a while, come back, like 10 or 15 years later. The miraculous reappearance of Luis Moya, who headed off to New York to do his wine thing and now has come back out here, was a joy to me last week, and I couldn't help but buy several wines from him, including this very nice Albarino from Galicia, Spain. Look at the name, Castañeda. Look at the spelling. You see an EI in there, right? EI doesn't really happen in Spanish naturally. EI is more of a Portuguese and a Galician dialect of Spanish thing. So if you see an EI and you're in Spain, you know you're where? You know you're in Galicia, Spain. That's northwest Spain, just above Portugal, and you're on the coast. And you are almost certainly being served a plate full of oysters, mussels, octopus, fish of all kinds, scallops, maybe even percebes. Percebes, say it with a lisp to sound cool, are barnacles. Maybe the only place in the world where you're going to go having some barnacles. Make sure you wear a dark shirt when you have barnacles because they tend to squirt when you're eating them. You just don't know where their stuff's going to splash. So my advice to you, wear dark colors when you have percebes, barnacles, and have them with great Albarino like this. This is brilliant stuff. Oh my Lord. I had an Albarino with a vendor earlier this week, and it was good. It was fine. It was straight. It had, it would have refreshed your palate, but it just didn't say anything else. This says more. I can't tell you how. There's a little enrichment of the lees, perhaps. But instead of just nervy lime juice, there's that plus. And that's why we bought this one from Luis. Castanero is going to be the white wine on the menu to refresh you during this super hot weekend. Well, of course, we do a dry rosé every week, and new ones keep coming. We keep buying them. I have a rosé buying problem, and this one is domestic. This comes from our old friend Ian Brand, who does great work in the Central Coast, and he makes a rosé that is based on Mourvedre, or you're not, on Mourvedre you could say is 3 syllables, but actually it's 2 syllables, and the last thing you kind of breathe out. So Mourvedre, you gasp. You can say Mourvedre if you want. If you don't want to be embarrassed. I'm really embarrassed right now. The Petit Paysan, this is an embarrassing label. This is a kind of an old, somewhat chubby, hairy guy wearing a tutu, having a conversation about apparently this wine with a rooster. I don't get it, but it's endearing anyway. I'm gonna have some. That's endearing. 75% Mourvedre. The Mourvedre is grown in San Benito County, just over the Gavilan Mountain Range from Monterey County, and that's where most of Ian's work is done. But Mourvedre needs a warmer place, so he goes there for his Mourvedre, and then he heads out back west into the Arroyo Seco area for most of his other grape sourcing. So it's all basically in the same area, east to west, but he has to go over the hump to get Mourvedre ripe. You guys might know Mourvedre as the great wine of Bandol. Bandol by, let's say, Domaine Tempier. That's like $55, $60 rosé these days. Well, this is right at 20. And we'll remind you somewhat of that fantastic rosé from Bandol, France. It just got here 2 days ago. When we get a rosé in, we say, let's put it on the wine bar menu because we want to drink some of it. We have 5 reds that could be drunk by the glass. We don't drink, no, we sip, don't we? I'm sorry. Drinking is not classy. That's fine, you can drink all you want, I don't care. I'm in a mood, aren't I? At any rate, these 5 reds that are offered by the glass are also offered as a flight, as we have been doing up at the wine bar for the last couple of weeks. We are doing a different red flight every week, so taste 5 2-ounce pours of these wines, or just get a good glass of each, or do the flight, and then say, now I want to go back and have an entire glass. I have a real problem with wine tasting, I really do. I think wine tasting does not do you justice or the wine, where your tongue is expected to do gymnastics and somersault through all kinds of different experiences of acids and tannins and flavors. You barely get to know a wine by a taste. I mean, maybe if you're really good at projecting, and that's what we wine professionals are expected to do, then you kind of get the gist of a wine. But why do you want only a gist? Why don't you have an entire glass? So we're kind of forced to give you the wine tasting experience. But I really, really hope that at the end of tasting, you make a commitment to a glass and fully know one of these wines. The first of these is a 2012 Chianti Classico Reserve. It's called Machiavelli, kind of threatening. If there's anything but threatening happening in the mouth, it's because of that extra amount of time. For instance, most of the Chiantis that we're showing downstairs are 16s and 17s. This 12 has had the time for all of the nervousness, the anxiety of Sangiovese to kind of mellow out a little bit. Some people really want the uppity quality of Sangiovese, so they'll buy something younger, but this is nice for its settled qualities. Nice, mellowed out Chianti Reserva. And Chianti Reserva is almost always over $30 these days. This one prices in the mid-20s, so it's a nice opportunity to get something older and more mellow and to save a buck or two. That's a beautiful red that doesn't stick out anywhere. It just soothes. It's very good. Now, let's take you to wine number 2 of the Reds on the wine bar menu and take you to Portugal. That guy we were mentioning earlier, Luis Moya, who's reappeared, that old friend of ours, is selling a lot of Portuguese wines these days. This is a 2013 red wine from Barreira. And again, I don't speak Portuguese, so I'm probably butchering the name, but that's a somewhat coastal region between Lisbon and Porto to the north. So between those two cities, somewhere coastally, Barreira happens. This uses Tinta Roriz, Touriga Nacional, Syrah, and Merlot. Most importantly, it's from Barreira, where the wines tend to be savory when they're red. They have a little bit of a bell peppery quality. And also importantly, this is a 2013, so it's another red, just like that Chianti we just described, that has development. We've lost the baby fat fruit of this wine in favor of more savory qualities. And this is just one of those, dusty, leathery tobacco, and there's fruit, but it's kind of like leathery fruit, dried fruit. Thoughtful stuff and inexpensive and something you want to eat with. So make sure you order a cheese platter. In fact, what happened this morning, Dawn worked with me last night to do all the pouring of the wines. I did the presenting, and every time I pulled out another bottle, we did 15 wines last night. Every time I brought out another bottle, there was Dawn up out of her seat helping me pour, because we had 2 bottles of each wine. Corporate pour. What had Dawn been doing all day before that? Making cheese platters for all the people who wanted a cheese platter that night. What is Dawn in here this morning doing? She got here like a half an hour after I did and was asking me right off the bat, what should we do for the wine bar cheese menu? And I said, you know what, we're doing some, thank you first for everything you did last night, Dawn, but for today, for tonight, as we change to a new thing called wine bar, why don't you do us, put on the cheese menu things that have a lot of character, because these wines they're not necessarily heavy and dark and cocktail style, but they have they're heavy in character, including this Portuguese red. And I asked her to do the pecorino from Italy that is infused with truffle paste, black truffle paste. So that's a cheese that's aggressive in character and super European. It's gonna kill it with this wine, I promise. You guys should order a cheese platter when you come upstairs and do this flight, all right? Is that a promise? Now, in keeping with this flight's apparent system of a little bit older and a little more European, we're gonna do a Creux Hermitage from 2015. Normally, when I've seen Creux Hermitage as a wine bar these days, we're taking a look at bottles that say nothing older than 2017. Current vintage is really 17, 18, 19 right now from this area in the northern Rhone of France. The northern Rhone, of course, has one predominant red grape called Syrah. Creux Hermitage is the name of the area within the northern Rhone. It's kind of a neighborhood, if you will. And this is 100% Syrah. And there's a guy out there named Kurt Spa, I'll just name you, who will really like this wine. Kurt, I bought this for you, but I also want to share it with a few other wine bar visitors this weekend. So I find beautiful tradition here, tradition that I know Kurt admires. If you like traditional old world reds, instead of old world reds that are trying to be new world, here's an example. As you can tell, I'm into this kind of thing as well. So Kurt and I will have some wine together, and then maybe a few of you other folks will show up. All right. Let me actually say that the last wine is the Cabernet Franc I've already talked about. That's also going in the wine club from Brescia, a super friendly way out of here. That's easygoing, New Worldish Cabernet Franc from Brescia. But the second to the last wine is the last wine we're going to talk about today, which has a very, very interesting story because of source and history, and there's too much going on. This is the last wine we showed last night in the benchmark wines of the night. Yeah, we showed Brunello, we showed Gigondas, we showed Barolo, we showed Bordeaux, but we also showed Areni. This is Areni, the name of the grape and the name of the location in Armenia, of all places. Actually, I want to get this glass out for this because, as we found out last night, it really show beautifully in here, kind of like a Nebbiolo, perhaps, from northern Italy. The Areni grape from Armenia, grown at 4,000 feet of elevation on the slopes of Mount Ararat, where Noah's Ark came to rest, some say, including the Bible. And the really cool thing is that just near this vineyard, within hundreds of yards, is a cave that's been discovered. They call it Areni 1. And it was discovered, I think, in 2006, I believe, they found this cave. And it contains the artifacts, the oldest winemaking artifacts ever found yet. So in other words, the oldest winery in the world is in a cave a few hundred yards away from the vineyard growing this wine on the slopes of Mount Ararat, from which Noah descended. I think he let 2 giraffes and maybe 1 baby giraffe that was birthed along the voyage out, and then he let out probably 300 rabbits. He only let 2 in, but you know what. And then 2 male unicorns. Unicorns are kind of like hard to sexually identify, so he blew it there, and so there are no unicorns these days, and so on. So he let all the animals out, right? And then he went down, according to the Bible, he went down a mountain and grew a vineyard. Maybe he planted these vines. Armeni from Armenia, on the slopes of Mount Ararat. The vineyard is watered by the snowmelt from that mountain. It's ancient. It smells ancient. It's not like fruit-forward California stuff. It is more earthy. It smells a little bit like Nebbiolo from northern Italy and a lot of Greek wines that I've smelled. Xino Mavro and so on. The more you ponder this wine, this is the thing to do a glass of, because you will know it better. If you have a taste of it, you won't fully know this. Great example of a wine that needs to be enjoyed in volume. And then about halfway through the glass, you say, I get this, I like this. You might never like it, and I will miss out on being what we're supposed to be for you if you don't drink this. So I've gone a very, very long time. It's a long video. I've had heartfelt things to say early on. We've told you that the Wine Club wines are ready to get. We've told you that wonderful wines are being put onto the wine bar menu. We told you that we were going to be auctioning off this picture of future Ennis right here. It's autographed. I did it. Final thing to say, however, is somewhere around here. Oh my gosh. This video went so long, I did not dare bring up anything frozen, but our daughter Mary has restocked the freezer downstairs with more Bloom's End products. So come in and get gougere and scones and chocolate chip cookies and all kinds of wonderful things, biscuits that are nearly ready to eat. All you have to do is go home, turn on the oven, as if you want to today, but maybe in a couple days when it's cooler, turn on the oven and get those scones in there, and you will look like a master baker when you pull those things out and make your family happy. What I did bring up, because I didn't want to thaw things out during this half-hour video, was a couple of dry goods that Mary makes. Crackers are a pain in the ass to make. However, these addictive crackers are worth Mary's making. They're not inexpensive, but they're like no crackers you've ever had. Get in on the Bloom's End crackers. This time, she's always changing it. Sourdough paprika cheddar crackers. Yeah. Have you ever thoughtfully tasted a cracker? Of course not. Crackers are kind of a foregone conclusion. They're meant to be a platform. No, these are crackers that taste like something. It's worth your checking out. This is what I had for breakfast this morning. I bought some yogurt, drinkable yogurt, and I poured it over Mary's wonderful granola, homemade granola. Really, really, really good. This also changes every time. This time it's sour cherry and pistachio granola. At any rate, you guys have been super patient. Longest video ever. A lot to say, a lot to feel. Thank you very much, Ennis, and farewell to my Chardonnay-loving customer 3 blocks down the street. Stay cool, everybody. Let's hope the power stays on. Let's get you upstairs at an air-conditioned wine bar. And I can't believe you watched all this, but thank you. Bye-bye.